Hey everybody, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I wanted to share a journal that I finished today and talk about a kit that I will be listing in the shop this afternoon. I was torn about what to call this. It's just, well, first of all, let me show you what inspired this. I am often inspired by just one thing, one picture, maybe one piece of fabric. But I found this book in a used bookstore recently. It's called Textile Style, and I had to have it. It had the most beautiful pictures and fabrics, textiles, paint, furniture. You all know I've been on my little architectural kick lately, and I just love all sorts of fabrics and colors and textures. I've been trying to incorporate more color into my life, the way that I decorate or the things that I buy, and that might be a little bit out of character for me when you compare it to the 100-year-old house I raised my children in, and everything was kind of, I don't know, old-fashioned in the sense of maybe chenille bedspreads and a lot of cotton curtains with ruffles, a lot of cream and white, and that was really beautiful as well. But anyway, this book, Textile Style by Caroline Clifton-Mogg, this is gorgeous. I'm going to buy another copy to keep intact. I've been cutting out of this one, and I'm going to share this with everybody, and I'm going to put a link in the description to this book. I think this book is worth having if you love textiles and bohemian inspired decor. That said, I was inspired to do a journal, and my first thought was to call it Found Treasures. Then my brilliant artistic fiance said, why not a stitch in time, which really makes complete sense, and I kind of like a stitch in time, so that might be what I call this one. At any rate, I want to share with you the journal that I finished, and I will tell you as I go through this what all is in the kits. I'm going to start by listing probably about 18 kits, and in every kit you will get enough of this beautiful gold fabric to do an outside cover. You will get enough of this beautiful wine or rust color fabric. I guess that's not really rust, but I wouldn't call it burgundy either. Kind of a red with gold trim. Enough of that to embellish the front. There will be, of course, enough of this gold to have some extra pieces to do the little square on the front, tabs on the inside, and each kit is going to have part of a doily. I cannot guarantee the way that it will be cut. Mine ended up being a little triangle, so I just sewed it on as you see it. And I sewed the button on. I'll show you when we get inside. And there will be enough of this gorgeous, this is very, very high quality upholstery fabric. It is absolutely gorgeous. Every kit will have enough to do the inside cover like this. You can see just how beautiful that is, and there will be enough to do a pocket as well. So getting back to the front, I will also put this pom-pom trim in every kit, and the beautiful thing about buying a kit is that they don't all turn out the same. You don't have to line the inside of your pages with your trim unless you want to, and if you want to do it that way, you certainly can. It would be pretty to just put on the edge of pages to trim cards or pictures or just whatever. But I only sewed this on one edge because I really didn't want to do a lot of stitching that was going to show through on this beautiful fabric. The button, and every kit will have a button. Every kit will have more than one button, but every kit will have some kind of button to put on the front if you want to, or to make a paperclip charm or whatever you want to do with it. But you can see where I just used some embroidery floss to attach that, and it was really easy. I just threaded the needle, went through a couple of times, and tightened it up on the inside. So that was really quick. every kit is going to have 8 images that are just very rich in color. It will be a combination of images from books, greeting cards, and postcards. And I can just go ahead and show you an example of the kinds of things that I have. This card with some stained glass. These are images from some of the art books that I have. Make sure we're still recording. I love this. I just love all of this rich color. So just the bright color, and again, it will be a combination of cards. I don't really know how I'm going to divide these up. I try to be careful to keep sort of a color theme. There is so much beautiful, rich color in these kits that I think they can go together. Like, the colors will just blend. Aren't these gorgeous? Anyway, each kit will have at least 8 images. I believe I counted 8 when I first. You can just see all of the wonderful color, the beautiful image there. So, and of course, all of these things, most of these things, the images and such, are one of a kind. So that's where the kits start to get different. So there's a pattern here, but everything won't be identical when you're done. I liked this for my kit. I love vintage things, or for my journal. Love the bright color in the umbrellas and the red there. Every kit will also have a piece of this fabric. Got a string there. There are a lot of strings. But you can see part of the lion on this side, and you can cut yours up however you want to. I ended up putting the lion right in the center, and I probably wouldn't do that again, just because I'd like for it to all show on one page, but I wanted this as well. So, and then behind this, you can see the beautiful wallpaper. I will show you some examples of wallpaper that I have going into these kits as well. A lot of the wallpaper like this is going to be very bright and very colorful. Every kit will have 2 pages from a vintage Sears and Roebuck reproduction catalog. It's from the 60s, and it's a reproduction of something even older, like from the turn of the century, last century. Every kit will have a large, beautiful piece of paper that you can cut down to make a page, and then you'll have leftover paper to do tabs or whatever. And I wanted to show you some of these pieces of paper. They're just full of color. They're all a little different. There may be 1 or 2 that are the same, like that. Aren't they gorgeous? On the back, they're white, so I do, like I normally do, and I put 2 things back to back, and I sew around the edges. But these are so pretty. I've just, this whole past week with the things I've been doing and looking at have just inspired a lot of thoughts about color. Well, that's not the one I used in mine. That was similar. Isn't that just beautiful? So each kit will have 1 of these, and I can't get to where I'm like sorting things. And anyway, they will just be random. So, but everyone is so beautiful. I will do my best. If anybody has requests, that one's got a bird. I'll do my best to accommodate what I can. Some of you shop with me on a very regular basis, so, and I'm not saying that I would treat anybody any differently, but I know some of you might see this immediately and get in touch with me and say, oh, can I have one possibly with a bird, or can I have the lemons or the elephant? And I will try to accommodate that if I can, but otherwise they're going to be just random selections. Oh, I skipped something. This little piece of netting, and every kit will have a piece of netting. I sewed a little seashell into this. Isn't that sweet? This is just, I don't know, things to inspire me in my life with color and surroundings and influences. There's more wallpaper. This is just a plain white paper that I just basically laid out on my art desk, and I used acrylic paint just to make random designs, and I let it dry and I cut it down to make pages. So things like that that you want to add in will be completely up to you. Like, there won't be this in the kit. This is something I did to add a page to mine. There will be plenty of trim like this. You can see the fabric behind. I will put in, each kit will have one of these. Each kit will have little pieces of other kinds of fabric that are just, they're just beautiful, and they're very tactile. I love it. There is a page from this book that inspired me so much. Every page is just gorgeous. And I'm going to put a full page in each one, and probably a page that's not full color. But just look at these. They are just exquisite, all of these designs. So that just gives you an idea. Every page in this book is wonderful. I would suggest buying the book. And again, it's going to have fabric pieces that you can use as trim. Here's another image. And again, you will have 8 different images that are equally beautiful as far as color. There will be birds. There's more wallpaper. Each kit will have at least 4 postage stamps. And I have then stamped mine with a stamp that I have, an ink stamp that I really love. So you can embellish your pages even more with things like that. Every kit will have 3 pages of my hand-dyed paper. Every kit will have a music sheet, if I didn't say that. Every kit will have a vintage map page. And each one will have 2 pieces of this small lined paper. And what I did with my 2 pieces is to put them one on this side and one on the other side, and just sew them down so that I didn't have to turn them sideways. I wanted a full page that I could put notes on. Each one will have a large vintage calendar page with this beautiful, I love for this to show. I like these. And each one will have a beautiful large page from some type of art book, picture book. And this music sheet, each one will have one of those. Again, every kit is going to have the same things as far as little pieces of fabric for tabs. And the pages I've been showing you, each one will have one of these. Each one will have a sample card with some type of textile on it. Let me grab a couple that I have and just show you. Like there's one with a bird. They're all beautiful. So each one will have one of those. There's more of the bright wallpaper. And I love this. Each kit will have one of these little sample cards. I chose to use a hole punch and attach mine to the page with a grommet, and then put a little piece of ribbon through it. So you could do yours however you want to, but these are some of the samples. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, you could do a book out of just these. They're so pretty. Really pretty. I just wanted to show you some of the things that are going in here. There's another page from that gorgeous book. And there is, each kit will have enough, well, like this piece of paper is cardstock or scrapbook paper. And I think when I counted, each kit will probably just have one of these because all the rest is going to be this beautiful wallpaper. But once you cut it down, you're going to have pieces of paper left over to do tabs and things like that. Here is another page that I did with the acrylic paint, and I used my stamp that I like this little postage stamp to dip in the paint and make a design. So you can add pages to yours like that. You don't have to. It's going to come with quite a few wallpaper pages, book pages, and the number of pages will be in the description so that you know exactly what you're getting. This is a piece of wallpaper that I chose to put in the very center of my book. I just think it's so pretty. And again, everyone is going to be one of a kind. I will have, once the kits are compiled, I will have pictures of the materials laid out, so you'll be able to see like examples of the pages, but again, it's going to be random. Let me just show you some pieces of wallpaper. They're all so beautiful, and I will make sure that each kit has a page that's just covered in stuff. Like to me, this is more of an accent page. This would be more of a page that I would probably put in the center. But you don't have to do that. That would be pretty in the center. And look at the colors in that. Look at the pink. These are just gorgeous pieces of wallpaper. But you'll have enough to do what you see here. Where I tied, and each kit will have a yard of embroidery floss, at least, probably a little more. I am going to put some beads in each kit, probably 4 or 5 beads. I chose to put a couple on the inside of my journal, and these are smaller. I didn't want to put something huge in the center of the book. You don't have to do that. And I used the waxed linen thread that I like to buy for making journals now, but embroidery floss is just as wonderful. I've used that many times, and like I said, there will be some of that in the kit. There's the other side of that page that I did. Each kit will have trim, pieces of trim in bright colors. There's a type of image that you might receive. Each kit will have a little piece of this really nice textured paper. And look at that playing card. I just love that. Each one will have one of those. Each one will have, this was from a beautiful calendar with just gorgeous pages, and each one will have part of one of these pages. There's another image with a lot of color. You'll have enough paper, you know, to do the pockets and the pages. There's another pretty postcard. I love glass bottles and jars. Really pretty to think about using those around the house and in the garden. There's another image. Each journal is going to come with a very large file folder that I will cut. The file folders that I was planning to put in, they will be cut and ready to sew at 9 by 6 inches. And then when I cut that, it leaves a lot of file folder left over that you can use to back images, and that's what I did with part of mine. So I'm not going to be sewing images, but you can do yours however you want to. You'll have the images, you'll have the file folder, have just everything you need as far as the paper, the wallpaper, the trim. And what I really want to do is get some watercolor and paint this. But that's a stamp that I used to stamp my page. There's the Jolly Schoolboy. Everyone will have a playing card of some kind, even besides the tall one. There's more wallpaper, more beautiful, beautiful color, the postage stamps. Each one will have a little piece of this trim. That's so pretty. That looks kind of southwestern to me. And each, what did I do with those pages? Another little book that inspired me was a book that had some beautiful images from a museum, and it was all based on textiles as well. There's another part of that book page, just gorgeous. But each book will have one of those images. There is that wonderful textured paper. Everybody will get one of those. Here are the images from the little book about textiles. It's just so sweet. So each, I like that. Each kit will have one of these. I love this one. I almost used it, but I wanted somebody else to have it. Oh, I just love these. These are like samples on a page with this beautiful writing. That's what I want this to look like. And I'll tell you what I'm going to use my journal for. I want my journal to be about my home and things that I want to incorporate in my life. If I find little samples of things I would like to use, I want to put them in here. And this could be something really to practice my handwriting too. I want it to just be, oh, just really pretty. There's more wallpaper, and each one will have a piece of this blue satiny fabric, and you don't need a huge piece of the little trim pieces. Each one will have a little stamp that says Bohemian. Each one will have a pack of vintage buttons. You can see some right here. You can use these as a charm. You could just put them in with, there's a string on that one. Put it in with a paper clip, use it as a bookmark. I, again, used a hole punch and a grommet because I wanted mine attached to the page. Each one will have a little piece of velvet trim to make a tab. Each one will have a library card that has something to do with art or architecture. This says Architecture Italy, Rome, St. Peter's Square, View from Roof. So, and there's the other part of the little lion. So sweet. And each one is going to have one of these large cards with the Taj Mahal. That's in India, of course, where so many bright and beautiful colors are found. Now, as far as what's going on here, you know I like to tie ribbon and things through the center. Each one is going to have one of these little vintage spools of thread, and this says Clark's Bobbin. They will be different colors. They're all bright, and each one is going to have one of these little sample textile cards. That was probably flooring or something. It's laminate, or maybe countertop. I chose to cut out one of my images and glue it onto the other side to make a charm. And each kit will have some of this trim, about a yard, and about a yard of this ribbon. Each one will have a key. You know, I love my key charms. So that's it. Did I even mention these? I decided to take a piece of that waxed linen thread as well and put 4 beads on the front. And it was easy just to take a long piece. Once you've put your beads on, of course, you can just knot it at the bottom and then sew just a really crude stitch up through and tie it at the top. And you don't have to do this. This is just what I did with my beads. You can do it however you want to. You'll have enough fabric and paper to do this. Okay, I'm back, and I thought it would be best maybe to go ahead and put everything on this one video as far as showing you what is in the kits. Again, some of the things are going to vary. Some of the things are exactly the same. I will start with this little stack over here. You can see there are 5 postage stamps. Some of them will be the same, some will vary depending on what I have. There's a library card catalog card, that beautiful gold paper. I had sewed some of that on a page. There is a playing card, a little textile sample that you can glue an image onto. There is a playing card with bright colors. This happens to be the Mystery Machine. Some of them, of course, will be just regular playing cards. There is a sample card, another textile, just beautiful fabric, a piece of very textured paper to make a pocket or just whatever, and a page from a little book that is all about textiles in a museum. And I will have the links to some of these resources as well. You will get over a yard of embroidery floss. There is a pack of vintage buttons in each one. As far as charms, there will be an old key, a button in case you want to use one on the front, an old spool of thread, and the colors will vary, a tiny little seashell if you choose to sew one up in the netting like I did. There is the pom-pom trim if you want to use that. There are some fabric samples and little bits of trim, exactly like what is used in my journal, except the colors may vary a little bit. There's the velvet ribbon, some lace trim, some cotton trim. These are the bigger pieces that I tied in the center of the journal. This beautiful color of green, kind of a blue-green. This piece, I will tie a knot at each end because it tends to unravel, but it's really pretty. Got a lot of colors in it. And just a piece of purple eyelash trim. I just cut a piece and laid it in the center of my journal. I didn't really attach it to anything. Each kit will have 5 beads. A little piece of fabric with Bohemian stamped on it. Each piece will have a sample card with some sort of fabric sample on it, and they will vary. Each pack will have 8 images of some kind. This is from an art book. Here's a postcard with stained glass. There's a beautiful art image, just a really bright tree. It almost looks like it's on fire. And that's from an art book. Again, the colors will vary. They will all be just rich, beautiful colors. That has an Asian theme. It's got all the pretty colors on the vase. There is a beautiful, it looks like the Middle Ages, but it also has a very bohemian feel. Her hair, the little like a headband almost with a jewel in the center, and the necklace, and just the rich colors in her dress. There's a beautiful card that has the birds on it. Another small image. I used a small image in my kit, and I'm going to be keeping my journal this time. I just absolutely love it. Where's that card? You saw in my kit. I used my small image to cut down and glue onto this side of my card to make a charm. Each one will have a large piece of paper like this. These will vary as well, but they are all gorgeous. Once you cut it down to make a page size, you will have some left over for tabs. Each one has a card showing the Taj Mahal in India. Each one has a piece of scrapbook paper that it will vary as well, but it'll all be beautiful and have that sort of bohemian feel and color. Each one will have part of a large calendar page with this beautiful art. I think that's from a Sherry Bloom calendar. Each one will have a large art page that you can use as a centerfold or just as a page. Each one will have a vintage map page, 3 pages of my hand-dyed paper, a page of music. We'll also have part of a music page that has the staff, isn't that what the staff lines, I guess, where you can write out music. Each one will have 2 pages from a vintage Sears and Roebuck. I thought it was really neat to have the horse supplies because of thinking about travelers and bohemians and moving around and having the covered wagons. Each one will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of wallpaper. They will vary. I cannot guarantee what will be on any piece, but there are many pieces that are beautiful and full of design. So I will make sure that each kit has something that's very full. I can't promise that it will be roses, but they will be beautiful. And that's part of having different kinds of kits that is so wonderful. Different pieces to each one is that no two kits are exactly the same. And each pack will have a page that is full color from the book that inspired this, and then a page that is partial with writing. And I sew over mine. I use tabs. Each kit will have 2 of these lined pages, and again, I sewed those in my journal up this way so that I could have horizontal lines to make notes on. So I put mine on 2 different pages in the journal. Now for the big pieces of fabric. This is gorgeous designer fabric. That piece has been folded. You might have to press it. They're not all like this. I would pick one that has the lines in it, wouldn't I? But they press out very nicely, and honestly, I think the one I used for my journal had a fold in it, and I really didn't even worry about it because I knew that on top of it I was going to be putting one of these. And these are a little bit larger than what you need. Every kit, this is where they get exactly the same. Every kit will have a large gold piece for the outside. Then it'll have a beautiful burgundy piece or wine colored piece to go on top of that. There is another little gold piece to embellish on top of that. And again, each piece will have part of a doily. They will be shaped in different ways. So it's going to be, you know, up to each person how they want to do their kits. I was looking for that button that was in the kit. So like this is where it gets creative. You could cut this and do it this way and put a button here. You could sew all the way around this, and you don't even have to use it on the cover. The cover would be beautiful just like this, even with a button just like that. On the inside, this fabric is gorgeous. I mean, there's just no other word. This was very, very expensive fabric. I purchased it at a discount, and I bought all that they had. It's just beautiful. I have enough to make and list 17 kits, and that's it. Once they're gone, this fabric is gone. Again, there's another piece to go inside and make a pocket if you wanted to do one all the way across your journal on the inside. And there is a nice piece of fabric, very nice complementary, and I cut out a piece of that to make a pocket. So as you saw, I ended up putting the lion in the center, but you wouldn't have to do that. You could make a pocket here, then you'd have a long piece here, but the nice thing about all of this is that you're going to have little remnants left over that you can use for tabs or whatever. What I used as the base of my journal cover was a file folder, and I've already trimmed them down to 9x6. I'm going to include the leftovers. This was a large legal size file, so it gives you some leftover cardstock to work with, like to sew, if you want to sew some of your images onto cardstock, and you could even stain the back or paint or whatever. This is the entire kit, unless I have forgotten to show you something here, but I will make a full list of everything that is included, and that will be on the Etsy listing page, and I will try to do some pictures showing variety, and I will make it clear in the listing that I can't guarantee a certain pattern on any pieces of paper or the postcards or images. Otherwise, everything's going to be the same, and it makes a beautiful journal. As you've already seen, it does make a really pretty journal, and a lot of times when I do something like this, I end up selling my journal as well, the one that I make, but I'm keeping this one. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to make notes in mine, as I mentioned, about things that I want in my home and maybe some changes I want to make and some colors and things I want to incorporate. So anyway, that's it, and thanks again for watching. This listing will be up shortly. Bye.